Welcome to the channel dedicated to photography and how to make money with your camera. Wouldn't it be great if you showed up at a photo shoot and money just started raining down on you? You wouldn't even have to worry about marketing, getting clients. Just show up with the camera, money comes raining down. Just a little background about this list. Everything on this list are ways I have personally made thousands of dollars over the course of my professional photography career. Most of the photography gigs on this list are something you can easily do if you have the right gear. You can easily go out and earn thousands of dollars a month with any item on this list. I have personally made thousands, tens of thousands in some cases, with gigs like these every month. Whichever niche you want to start in, be sure to educate yourself and know the equipment and techniques you need to succeed in that niche. You should be trying to get gigs in several different niches at any given time. A well-rounded photographer is what you strive to be so you can get jobs in several different genres in any given month. In this video, I am just going to tell you some of the basics of each type of gig, and I will be making videos about each of these types of gigs to give you information about the gear and the photo techniques you need to do a great job. And you should also know that your personal interests often decide which of these different niches or genres of photography best suits you. I love sports. So obviously sports photography, both team and individual and action, are two things that I continually do and have emphasized over the last 15 years of my photography career. So it comes as no surprise that volume photography, emphasizing sports teams, that's high school and middle school teams, and youth sports leagues, that type of volume photography. And when you try to get into the sports volume, don't try to start out with a league of 1,000. Start small, get your system down, because you've got to have a system about how you shoot and turn around these photos. And you can easily make $2,000 to $20,000 shooting photos of a youth sports league. I have made as much as $2,000 shooting girls' high school sports teams in one day at a school, and that's usually over the course of a couple of hours. You are going to make money with volume because you are shooting hundreds of clients in one day. Unlike, say, if you shoot a wedding and you've got one client for that day. But with volume, for instance, let's say you're taking photos of a small, say 100 players in a small youth sports league. You shoot those 100 players and 70% of them, 70, place orders. However, say you make an average of $30 profit for each order. That's $2,100 for a couple hours of shooting. That's more money per hour than the average wedding photographer, because the average wedding photographer is going to shoot 8 to 10 hours that day and probably is not going to make more than your $2,100. And the difference is you can shoot that league every year. Sometimes, like in soccer, multiple times a year, because they have a spring and a fall season. If you do a good job, you'll go back year after year. Shooting weddings, it's one and done. You're constantly having to find new clients to replace the one you just shot. And you can start out by finding a local recreation center that offers youth sports and go talk to the director about taking photos for them. Be sure to take along some samples. Talk to the coaches at your local schools to find out how they select the photographers for their team and individual photos. Eventually, you'll find somebody that'll give you a shot. But first, get some sample photos, Take photos of your own kids and put them on backgrounds and show exactly what you're going to give to each child that orders. Number 2 on my list is printing on location. You can make the most money per hour of anything in photography if you have ever done, I don't care what your genre or gig you're doing, because I can tell you by printing on location, you can make $1,000 per hour, and that includes post-processing, editing, everything. Think of Santa photos at the mall. I have done daddy-daughter dancers and breakfast with Santa events where we shoot the photos tethered to the camera, tethered to a computer, which is hooked up to a dry lab Fuji printer, or you can use dye sublimation printers, but they got to print 8x10. This is also done at youth sports tournaments, baseball, softball, football, cheer events, where you take action shots and sell them on location. I've actually been approached about doing that. I just, at the time, didn't have the number of photographers I would need to be able to do that. You got to have a team of photographers and a team of people showing the photos and selling the photos. But the most money per hour I've ever made is shooting the daddy-daughter dance and printing on site. At the end of about 2.5 hours, I had made a profit of $2,500, and when we packed up and drove home, we were completely finished. No photos to download and edit. Photos were already delivered, so I actually made $1,000 per hour. I don't know how much those mall Santa photographers make, but with a good location and a good photo, a good Santa, I know they are making really good money. You can print 8x10 packages on site, reach out to the local community center that has a daddy-daughter dance, and find out how you can replace the current photographer who probably isn't printing on site. And they probably have some complaints about people not getting their photos in a timely manner. If you can guarantee everybody has their photo before they leave, you can probably take over that job. So there's nothing for the director of that community center to say no to you when you ask if you can take over that job. All right, the next gig or niche I'm going to talk about is real estate photography. You can easily make more than $100 per hour, even if you shoot photos for a real estate photography company and you're not shooting for yourself. And if you do shoot for yourself, you can make $300 to $500 per hour if you're shooting directly for the real estate agent. You need to be able to offer photos, 360 virtual tours, video, floor plans, and drone photos and video. So if you can offer all of that, you can make a lot of money on a single listing. You need to have a wide-angle lens and be able to capture different angles of each room. The quickest way to shoot real estate is by using a 3 or 5 image bracket. If you don't understand what that bracket shooting is, you're probably not ready to go out and shoot real estate, so educate yourself. To do this, you need a good tripod in addition to your camera and your wide-angle lens. You need to learn how to keep your camera level so you keep all the vertical and horizontal lines straight. It's very important to make the room look square, not off kilter. So if you get your lens too high or too low, the lines squeeze in or squeeze out on the walls. Your walls don't look like they're standing straight up. Our next niche we want to talk about is weddings. With weddings, you can make anywhere between $1,000 to $10,000 per day. I got my start in professional photography as a wedding photographer. I've shot more than 400 weddings. Even as a new photographer, you could get a start here, but you probably shouldn't go out and try to market yourself as a wedding photographer if you've never shot a wedding. Get your start out by finding a wedding photographer and becoming a second shooter. So your images aren't the ones the bride is counting on to record her once in a lifetime day. If you are going to start out as a wedding photographer, be sure you have good equipment and at least 2 camera bodies. You need to have 2 camera bodies because if one of them all of a sudden has an error that you can't get rid of, and this has happened to me at a wedding, you can grab your other camera and just keep shooting and not miss anything in that once-in-a-lifetime event. Like I said, I actually had a camera quit working in the middle of a wedding. I just grabbed my other camera and kept shooting, and the client never knew I had a camera malfunction. I actually had to send that camera back to Canon and get something replaced. I think it might have been the shutter. If you don't have 2 cameras, you can still become a wedding photographer, but you should rent another camera for that day from your local professional camera store. You need a camera that has great low light capability, and you need to be able to use off-camera flash. That's because all indoor weddings usually have bad lighting, especially the reception. So you're going to need to use some off-camera flash to help get you great photos of all the reception and all the wedding activities. The next niche I want to talk about is action photography, and what I do is sports. I have shot high school games for newspapers and a local school district, and they usually pay me anywhere from $100 to $200 per game, and it's doing something that I love to do. What you don't want to do is shoot a game and then post those images online and try to sell them that way. If you want to shoot and get clients to pay you for their photos of their child, the best way to do that is to get clients to shoot prior to the game, so you get a lot of photos of the child that is going to be a paying client. And there's a company, an app, that helps you build that type of clientele. Go to join.gfcrew.com to sign up for GF Crew, and you can build a following with your action photography. And if you can get 4 to 5 parents to pay for you to capture images at the same game, you can easily make $200 to $300 per game. And if you're shooting, multiple games a week, it's a pretty good gig. You're going to make good money. To be able to shoot action sports, you need a fast lens, telephoto lens, and by fast I mean f2.8 or better. because most of these photos will be taken at night. This is an f2.8 200 lens right here. Most of those photos are going to be taken at night or in a gym. And you're going to need to be able to capture those at f2.8, and still your ISO is going to be 8,000 to 10,000 ISO. So your camera body needs to be able to give you low noise with an ISO in the 8,000 to 12,000 range. The next genre that a lot of the younger creators are going towards is videography. It is easier to break in to a full-time job shooting video than it is photography. That's because everyone who buys a camera thinks they're a photographer. Doing video is not something that everyone who buys a camera thinks they're capable of, or they can easily do because they don't know how to edit it after it's done. If you are just starting out as a creator or a photographer, take some classes in video editing and start building a reel. Not only can you do action sports video for clients, you can get businesses to pay you to shoot and edit social media reels for them. And if you're looking for a full-time gig, there are a lot more full-time gigs being advertised right now of people who can do video, or at least can do both video and photo, and they specifically say you need to edit the video. So it's important that you take some classes and learn to edit that video so you can edit together several different snippets to make a reel. Where I got my start in photography, back when I got my start, cameras were for photos only. They didn't have video. It was film. That's when I started. But if you're starting out now, learn how to leverage the video capabilities in your camera. Just for instance, when I was still shooting wedding, I hired a young guy to shoot video at the weddings I was taking photos at, just so I could offer that as an add-on to my clients. And what I paid him is exactly what I charged the client. I wasn't making any extra off it. He had learned to edit video while working at a paintball park, where they charge clients a little bit extra to have action cameras on their helmets, and then they'd give them a short video with the highlights after they were done. So he had to learn to quickly download and make a highlight video while he was working at that paintball park. After getting to start doing some weddings with me, he now works with high-level brands doing video and photography. Another genre that you could go into is volume photography, and this is not for sports, but for daycares and schools. Daycares are the more profitable end of this, schools not so much. Daycares can be very profitable. However, know this, you must have a good wrangler, somebody that is going to pose your preschool student and get them to smile while you're behind the camera taking the photos. Schools are not preschools, but schools are not nearly as profitable because most schools want a percentage of your sales, and it can be up to 50%. And parents today just aren't ordering school photos because, they take photos on their phone. Who needs a school photo? They got 100 photos of their kids on their phone already, or 1,000 maybe. So keep that in mind. But daycare photos are, the younger the child is, daycares and kindergarten photos sell well. At each grade you go up, the number of people that order goes way down. So daycare is by far the most profitable. One other way you can make money using your camera is by creating a photo booth business. Because a photo booth is just basically, it can be a great side hustle because it's basically just your camera tethered to a Microsoft Surface tablet or a computer and a printer. And the software you use on that computer or Surface tablet will, print out the correct, it'll put together it'll take the 4 photos that you need for a photo booth, or 3 or 1, however you set it up. It does, the software you get for that does all the work. And I have a photo booth. I've done photo booths. I have a photo booth, and it can be very profitable. It's just, you've got to market for the clients. And again, you're spending more time marketing sometimes than you're actually making money at events. But if you're doing events and you can hand out a card at events for people who love the photo booth, you can also get some business that way. Another genre you could make money in easily are doing headshots. Get an office of professionals to let you set up and take photos of anyone in the building who needs a new photo for their LinkedIn profile. And if you get enough, you can charge $50 to $100 per client. Again, it's about volume. You can charge that little because you're going to do 10, 20 in one day. So if you charge 10, you get 10 and you charge $50 each, that's $500. If you get 20 signed up out of that office, you can make $1,000. Again, that's good money for one day's work, and you only have to turn around, a couple of photos each for 20 people.